Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of Kids Zone, our Christian education moment designed for the entire family. I am Reverend Sam and I am so grateful because we have another opportunity to celebrate our risen Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. For it is today that we say and join with all of the Christians across the world to say that Christ is risen. And your response, He is risen indeed. Today's lesson is actually about new life and about what we do when we are looking for something so hard. Have you ever been searching for something and you couldn't really find it? You're looking all over your house and it seems like you were trying to find something that you put in a space that you knew exactly where it was and you could not find it. I mean, I have lost keys, I've lost a television remote, I have lost so many things, even in my own house, places where I thought they were, where they should have been. Oh my gosh. And sometimes I find myself looking for things where I thought they would have been and not knowing that those spaces or those places are now empty. And they no longer exist. I mean, there are things that are like I knew they were there before and things where they should have been. And I've gone to those things in those rooms and they've been cleaned out or cleared out and it's no longer there. Have you ever been looking for things in empty or blank spaces where they should have been where you last placed them? Well, I am reminded of a story that many of you may have heard before, and it's the story of a young boy who was in a Sunday school class, and he was known to be a troublesome young man, and many of the students didn't understand some of his outbursts and his behavior, and at some point it even got too much for his Sunday school teacher, where she wanted to find a different class for him to be in because she could no longer control. And so she was going back and forth to talk to his parents, and they were saying, well, we can't really move him to another class because we didn't think he'll be ready for this group, and so we prefer him to stay with you all, but if you can't really do it, then we just would take him out of Sunday school altogether. Well, the teacher felt kind of sad, and so she decided to push through and make better accommodations and deal with his outbursts and talking, and didn't really, even though he had special needs, she was going to make sure that he was comfortable in the entire class. Well, they were getting ready for Easter, and the teacher gave the students an assignment and gave them an egg and told them to go home and next week to bring back something in the egg that represents new life. Well, fast forward a week later, just like today on this great Sunday morning where we're celebrating Easter, the students come back and bring their eggs, and they're all laughing and talking about what they're going to bring and having their eggs and excited about new life. And so they opened up the eggs, and then the first egg they see a flower because it represents life and things that are growing. In the next egg, someone opens up and there is a butterfly inside, and it represents all of the great things and the ways how caterpillars move into a cocoon and become a butterfly later. Well, our student, our young man, went and took the assignment as well. And he went home and he discovered that, he thought about this. He thought about the assignment and the project. And he came back with the egg. And it was time for his egg to be opened. And when he opened his egg, the egg was empty. What? There was nothing in the egg. All the kids laughed. And the teacher said, hey, did you have a problem with the assignment? She also felt bad because maybe she should have reached out and gave him more information, more instruction. And our student said, well, when the women were coming to the tomb to look for Jesus, they didn't find him there. And Jesus was raised from the dead and the tomb was empty. And so for him, the egg that represents new life was also the empty egg, which represented also the empty tomb. Sometimes we look for life in empty spaces. And what lesson do we learn from our young man today that we should apply for our lives is that life happens in many different spaces. And when we're looking for life only in the places where we expect it to be, looking for the things where we thought they should be, whether it be our plans, whether it be our focuses, everything doesn't always fit the box. New life begins in many areas. And because Christ is risen, we no longer have to just keep our mindsets focused or blocked into one particular space. Christ has freed us to be able to live abundantly. What does that mean? That we can live with our eyes wide open, live because dreams are unfolding, live because there is much work for us to be done. There is hope today because life in things that we thought that were empty and broken in our lives is not the final say. We can love and have life again, have joy. You can be excited, young people, because Christ is not dead. Jesus is risen, and he's risen indeed. And because that you have the victory, you are more than a conqueror. There are things that you can do and that you can achieve that you have yet to imagine, all because of what Christ did. Hey, it's empty. And that is a reason why we celebrate Christ, because the tomb is empty. That those who thought they could kill him and keep him dead, not so much. Jesus got up out of there. He said, nah, bruh, I serve one who gives new life. So I'm going to come out this tomb and shake off these clothes. And for now on, I'm going to give the world hope that life can happen once again. Wow. Don't you just love Jesus and love all the things that he's done for us? And you can't tell the story enough about what God did for us by sending his son to die for us, and not just to die, but for him to be resurrected. I believe in this, and because of that, I can smile, I can have hope, I can do well in ways I'm talking to people and communicating, and also be able to serve God because Jesus is alive. That is all that I have for you this week. I'm so excited to continue celebrating this Easter time with you, and be joyful, be glad. Today is a wonderful day. And remember what I said in the beginning. When I say this line, Christ is risen, you say he is risen indeed. And so you repeat after me right now, Christ is risen. And your response is, he is risen indeed. Yes, Christ has. And he's not in the egg. Talk to you again next week.